Our commencement speaker is Steve Hogan, the CEO at Florida Citrus Sports, the nonprofit event management company at the forefront of advancing Central Florida's robust sports community. Steve's organization produces major local events such as the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, Pop-Tarts Bowl, Florida Blue, Florida Classic, and the FC Series involving top global soccer clubs. These events generate year-round exposure and economic impact for the region and benefit at-risk children and educational initiatives locally. Steve is the 2024 chair of the Orlando Economic Partnership. His many professional service roles have included being the national chair for bowl season, formerly the Football Bowl Association, and engaging locally as chair of Leadership Orlando and on the Greater Orlando Sports Commission Board. His professional honors include being named the Orlando Business Journal's CEO of the Year and one of the Orlando Magazine's 50 Most Powerful Leaders. Steve has also held leadership roles with the Buonaconti Fund to Cure Paralysis and the Advent Health Community Health Impact Council. He's also a founding member of Lift Orlando, a Florida citrus sports partner organization that has influenced $120 million in capital development in the West Lakes neighborhoods near Camping World Stadium. Steve is a proud UCF alumnus who studied journalism, public relations, and advertising. Please join me in welcoming Steve Hogan.
I don't want to hide back here. This is intimidating. Hang with me. Welcome to the next step in your journey, and like most valuable relationships, you're going to hear me say that word a few times here in the few minutes that I have, and not romantic relationships or the followers that maybe you have on your social media accounts, but true relationships, the ones that you've developed here, hopefully at UCF, and you'll cherish and lean on for many years to come. In this time and this space, as I reflect, is special today. As you sit here, trust me, you're going to think back to this literally and remember this moment for the rest of your life. It's a huge day of achievement. As Dr. Cartwright said, my name's Steve Hogan, and I'm a 91 graduate of the University of Central Florida with a degree in journalism. And, I'm extremely proud of this family that I was able to develop here. And I'm not entirely sure how they allowed me to graduate. I remember literally sitting in the row thinking at any moment, Dean was going to call somebody down to say, go get him out of there. He's at least 12 credits short. He cannot graduate from this institution. But here I am, right? And no doubt, Dr. Cartwright, as I arrived this morning, I saw the shock in his eye. That's not the guy, right? He's not our commencement speaker. It's got to be another Steve Hogan. But again, I appreciate the oversight and the opportunity today. And it's a true honor, but in jest. But Dr. Cartwright, I truly appreciate, and all the faculty here, the leadership and your ability to allow this institution and all of us that call it home to be a real engine in this community and lift up not only this community, but the nation and the world potentially. So thank you for the opportunity today. It's a huge honor. Unlike all of you, probably, I was sitting there trying to figure out, man, what do I do after this afternoon with my family or my evening with friends? I have no clue, right? I'm so successful. Clearly I had a 5-year plan, knew what I was doing, had no clue. So what do, right? You go out and you look for a sales job. So, sure enough, a few UCF relationships introduced me to my first opportunity, and I worked for a huge cell phone company in the Tampa market. And when I say cell phones, I'm not talking the cool ones. This was a bag phone. It had Velcro, snap it off with a cord, and you put it up to your ear. Not cool stuff. But the corporate culture, the corporate environment wasn't something that just fit well with me and my DNA. So I took another opportunity. I'm a journalism grad, of course, so I had to go into the newspaper business. And I worked at the New York Times, and they had about 9 papers at the time here in Florida, and I was in the Lakeland market doing advertising. And going into that office, it was kind of dark and dingy, and lights are flickering, and immediately I felt the energy sap out of my body. this is a dying business model. No offense to my degree, it's an amazing effort, but the business model was broken, and I needed to seek another opportunity. It's no fun trying to get out of bed every day and act like you're excited to go to work, right? So I want you to think about that. And finally in 1995, again, through relationships in my family, there was a job opportunity at Florida Citrus Sports here in Orlando. And I'm like, I'm in, I'll interview. So I drive up, and you pull into the stadium, into the office, and immediately, I'm like, I could feel it. This is a place, the energy, the culture, you could see the close-knit, small team staff that they had. I have to do this. I need to do this. Lo and behold, they offered me the job and offered me a whopping $18,000 a year, essentially a 50% pay cut. I'm like, wow. But hey, you know what? It's the best decision I ever made. I drove an hour to work each day, both ways, and took a 50% salary cut just to go, I want to love what I do. I want to wake up every day excited to go to work. Now, there's going to be times in your life that you're going to need to lean on those relationships to persevere, overcome tragedy. And I invested significant time in those first several years developing the network, those network of contacts, both nationally and locally. I was blessed to have a couple of chief executives and leaders of our organization kind of took me under their wing and introduced me to their network. And I developed those as well. In 2006, our organization was facing a lot of headwinds, threats to the business model. It was a critical time in TV negotiations and infrastructure investments in the stadium. And I'd become the COO. Here I am, the number 2 person, and excited for what we're about to accomplish. And I get this call the morning of April 17th, 2006, to get into Tom's office. So I rush up there. I'm thinking, hey, we're going to jump on a call and talk to ABC or somebody else. And I walk in and I see Tom sitting in his chair with his arms to his side, looking kind of straight ahead, mouse swinging from the table. And it looked like he fell asleep. An immediate just panic and shock and adrenaline kind of took over. So the other teammate in the room, we picked him up, we put him on the floor, and I proceeded to give him mouth-to-mouth for the next what seemed like hour or so. It was probably 10 minutes, and soon the ambulance rushed him off to the hospital, and it wasn't long after that we got the call that we had lost Tom right there in the office. That night, the board appointed me as the interim CEO. And talk about needing to lean on those relationships. This happened in front of our teammates, our staff. It was shocking, right? How do you do that? To bring in that counseling, that support. It was those leaders that helped me think through that. Over the next months, they proceeded with a national search for Tom's replacement while I ran the business. And you keep your head down, you stay focused, you do what's important to the organization, and you don't think about yourself, and good things will happen. That's my message to you, because at the end of 8 months, they made the right decision, Trustee Mills, who's on my board, and they hired Steve Hogan as the 5th CEO of Florida Citrus Sports in 80 years. Now, I was 38 years old, the youngest CEO in the country in our field at the time, and I can assure you, most of you know me, I'm not very smart. So clearly, it's the relationships I'm trying to impress upon you are going to be important in your life. So, I want to kind of finish in this area of when we have success, and we've been blessed, at least in my field, in my career, to have success. I think we owe it to each other to do good with that success. Use your platform, use your stage to make real positive change. Economic impact without socioeconomic impact, would be selfish and honestly boring, right? So it was the relationships that we developed in the neighborhoods around Camping World Stadium that helped me understand that the most underinvested zip code in Central Florida had real challenges for the next generation growing up. You shouldn't have to take 5 and 6 bus exchanges to get to see a proper doctor, or have to go to a different school for 4th grade than you were in for 3rd, so forth and so on. Here we were in 2006 about to make a major investment in Camping World Stadium in what is 32805 zip code, the most underinvested zip code in Central Florida. And so you took a pause for a second to say, how could that be a win? It seemed hollow, right? Shallow, that a $200+ million investment in a sports entertainment venue would be success. So we set about those relationships and we challenged each other and we said, what if, maybe for the first time in our country, a sports and entertainment venue could actually be good for the neighborhood that it sits in, for the residents that sit in its shadow? What if it connected at a vascular level, right? The better it did, the more impact it had. Real Madrid, Barcelona, this summer, Man City, so forth and so on. That success could inject energy into these underserved neighborhoods. Wouldn't that be an amazing story? So we wanted it to be so. Here we are 10 years later, $120 million of mixed income affordable housing, 2 facilities, 2 buildings, 320 units, a 30,000 square foot health and wellness building, a brand new early education facility, a $10 million park, and a $10 million Boys and Girls Club. That's the power of collaboration and relationships. So in closing, find inside yourself what you're passionate about, right? Think about the things that make you happy and you want to wake up every day doing for a living. Regardless if it's your first job, your second job, your 10th job, go out and find that opportunity that's going to make you excited to get out of bed every day and go do it. The money will take care of itself. Find an organization that meets with your values and the culture of the folks that you want to work with as your teammates every day. Trust me, you're going to spend a lot of time with each other. And lastly, invest in authentic, valuable relationships starting today. We're all highly educated, clearly, right? Here we are today with this amazing achievement. But it's the relationships that are going to allow you to enjoy your full potential. So congratulations. Use your platform for good. Welcome to the family of alumni, and go Knights.
Thank you, Steve. You know, it's great to have you here today. I learned firsthand how great he is with relationships, because we were rejected by about 10 people before my team finally convinced me to allow him to speak today. In all seriousness, he was our top choice, but you can see why. So thank you so much for being such a great part of this community.